back, relax, and maybe get yourself a snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hey guys, so I'm here today to review two books that are actually both the final book in a series, which is great. So they're both also purple, which makes them match wonderfully for this video. The first one is Tyrant'S Throne. This is the final one in the Greatcoat series by Sebastian de Castell, and the other one is All Good Things, which is the final one in the Split World series by Emma Newman. So I'm going to start off with Tyrant'S Throne because this one is a beast of a book. I love this series. You guys will probably have seen me review the previous three in the series. I'll put a link to that if you've not seen it, so you can go and watch that. But this is the final one, and I actually did a buddy read of this with Michael from Bitten by a Radioactive Book, so I'll link his channel below. And I'm so happy that I did because it made me really excited to get back into the series. I love these characters. They are so fun, like seriously good, funny characters who make you laugh and smile and just enjoy being in their presence. And they are Kest, Brasti and Falcio. Falcio is probably the main character. He is the head of the Greatcoats, and his two friends Kest and Brasti are other Greatcoats, and basically Greatcoats go around the world trying to fix problems, trying to uphold the law, trying to basically make things better. And I've explained a bit more about that in my other review, so go and check that out. But this book in particular focuses on trying to put one of the main characters from previous books onto the throne to try and restore a bit of order to this world. At the point where we pick up the story, it's very much ruled by different dukes, and different people around the world have their own laws and rules, and everything's a bit of a mess. A lot of the common people are suffering quite badly from not having any stability and not having anything that is kind of reliable. So we really want to get stability for the land. We really want people to have some sort of leader that they can look up to, and our three main Greatcoats think that they have a kind of prominent, wonderful person who could lead. Alongside that, we also get to see a little bit into the world next to ours, or the land next to ours, which we have focused mainly on Tristia, and now we get to see into the land that is the neighbouring kingdom. They have a very different style of life, and they also come across as a rather big threat to the land that we love and the characters we like. So it's quite interesting to get to see our characters go into their land and find out a bit more about what's been happening there in the time that our world has been suffering and having all sorts of new changes and differences to leadership and politics and all that stuff. What I love about this series, and I've said this when talking about the previous books, is that it is so fun. It's definitely brutal, it is an adult series, but it is really fun. There are some very crude moments, some very funny moments, some very witty moments, and particularly in this book I even felt like there were some really emotional, raw moments, which surprised me slightly, but they did come from my main character who I love, which is Brasti. Brasti has been my favourite character throughout the series. He is the one who makes the jokes, he's the humorous, kind of silly sidekick, but he is such a good friend and such a loyal compadre, and he's so good, and I love him so much. He's really a wonderful person to read about and to imagine, and I loved him in this book because there was a moment where it was very devastating for a lot of the characters. There was some real turmoil and strife going on, and there was a big battle about to happen. Some people couldn't participate, and they said to him that they were really sad about something not happening for them, but everyone else going into battle was going to get this thing. And he just made their day by coming up with a really wonderful idea. I don't want to go into any details because I don't want to spoil it, but that scene, oh, it was just wonderful. I absolutely loved it, and I just can't tell you guys how much I love this series. It's so fun, so engaging, really light-hearted, but very brutal too, and it's just great. I really enjoyed it, and I felt like there were some really good moments of coming full circle in this book. We start out in a world that's very damaged, and we come back and finish it up in a world that has potential to move on, to have hope, and to kind of revitalise itself again. My only slight quibble with this book, and it is very slight, is that I didn't love the final end scene. I felt like it could have been done a bit better. It felt a little bit random to me. But overall, I am intrigued about where this series could go, because I have a strong feeling that the author will be coming back to this world and possibly even to these characters in future series. But this is the end of this series for now, and I really enjoyed it, and I gave it a solid 4 stars, so I'd certainly recommend the whole series to you to go and try. The next book I have to talk about is All Good Things by Emma Newman. This is the final one in the Split World series, and this is the Split World series here behind me, and I loved it. This is the 5th book. It is so good. By this point in the series, we are totally into the characters. We follow a main character called Kathy from the first book, who has escaped from the world of the Fae, and she doesn't like her family, she doesn't like being controlled by fairies and fae, and she's managed to escape into the human world to try and live a normal life. But in the first book she is found by her family and brought back into all the madness of being fae touched, which basically means that fairies have command of you, they can basically order you to do all sorts of things, and you are very much connected to the Fae world in different ways, which is not a great thing when the Fae are pretty conniving, horrible people and you don't really want to meet them. The Fae themselves are trapped in a world called Exilium. We follow the Nether, which is where people who are Fae touched live, and we also follow Mundanus, which is the mundane human world. So there's 3 different worlds, hence the name Split Worlds for the series, and we follow Kathy and various other characters throughout these 3 split worlds as she goes on a very hard-won mission to try and improve things for people in the Nether, in Mundanus, and also in Exilium in a way. What I really like about this series is that the first book is deceiving, because I really enjoyed the first book, but I didn't realise how much further Emma Newman was going to push things. I feel like the first book sets you up really well for the world, it definitely intrigues you, it gets you excited, and then the second and the third and the fourth all start things just becoming way more epic, and this book in particular was my favourite, I think, of the series. I loved book 4, but I think this was my favourite just because it rounded everything off so well, and it really trumped a lot of the moments that I'd had in previous books with this series. I would say this is the most feminist fantasy book I've ever read, in terms of it is so girl power by the end. It doesn't start off that way, it is very dominated by males in the Nether and in the Fae world in particular. They are very male dominated, and it's really interesting for Emma Newman to take a look at Mundanus, the human world in present day timeline, and say, look, Mundanus has changed, women are in power, women are doing things, and why can't that affect the Nether and the Split Worlds and Exilium as well? And she, via our main character Kathy, is trying to get across that things can change, things can be broken down into something better, and things can be renewed and more positive, and they can change for the better. And I loved that so much, and there were so many great moments in this book where I felt like I was so behind the main character, I was rooting for her. She's a bit whiny in the first book, and she doesn't really know how to assert herself or how to kind of get the things she needs and she wants, but by the time we're on this book, book 5, she is brilliant. She is a fantastic main character, and I think the growth of her across the series is incredible. I also think that the magic and the whole setup of this 3 worlds, Split Worlds, is so cool, and I love the fact that these fairies, they don't pull punches, they are evil and so conniving, and they will make you really question yourself, they will make you do things you don't want to do. They are bastards, really. Like, they really are, and yeah, you don't want to mess with them. And I love that about the series, because I think they're just so great and evil and horrible. This series does have things like rape, so I'll put that out there as a trigger warning. If you are going to be triggered by things like that, it is a brutal series, it does have horrible moments, but if you can get past that, I think it is fantastic. Like, so good. I adore it, I love it, and I hope you guys will pick it up. I gave this final one 5 stars, of course, it's just brilliant, and I would recommend the whole Split World series to you guys. And that is my review. Kind of more of a rave, but you know, it shows I liked it. So I would definitely recommend both those series. I'd love to hear which one appeals to you more in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.